You got to dance a little bit.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to today's podcast. Jerome, what podcast number is it? I don't even know. 72. Wow, we've done that many podcasts? That's unbelievable. Before we get started, let me talk about today's sponsor, which is CSP Embroidery. That's my company, by the way. Suppliers of branded apparel, headwear, and promotional products for your company or organization. Co-brand with companies like Nike, Oakley, Puma, Ugio, and Under Armour. You can contact me directly at 204-880-6394.
How about Fubu?
Fubu,
can
no.
you still get Fubu?
Does that still exist?
Exco? No, none of those.
With the jeans that are this wide per leg? Do you remember that?
They're coming back.
Was that the ones that they had the rhino? Was that the one that had the rhino on it?
Yeah, the
That was
rhino.
logo?
Yeah.
I remember those. Yeah.
That was the worst style ever,
Oh, the
man.
worst.
You always
That was
cross
worse.
the street when you see a guy wearing that. Right?
But yet everybody
It's one of
wanted
those.
it.
Yeah.
I don't remember how old are you right now?
I'm 30, turning 31.
31. Okay, so you would have been young.
Young.
You would have been
Yeah.
maybe
He wasn't.
10.
He wasn't rocking those jeans.
Yeah. But I don't even know if I did, but I remember I thought they were
I
so
did.
cool with those.
I did.
Everything's so wide. Did you?
Oh yeah.
And now everything is
I had a
skin
big
tight.
puffy jacket, like a big marshmallow jacket, because I saw it on a rap video.
Okay.
And then I had the big jeans with Timberlands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
So, guys, the man sitting to my left was born in England, raised in Brazil, and now resides here in Canada and has been here since age 12. Bullied at a very young age of 3, he started his journey in martial arts. Today, he owns Winnipeg's largest BJJ academy and actively pursues business coaching in an industry where the level of professionalism is traditionally low. Well done. A few fun facts about this man. He used to have a mindset that he would become a millionaire without ever reading a single book, loves playing the guitar, apparently is a world-class whistler, had almost 30 jobs in his life, and one of them was working for me at Whiskey Dix back in 2009. Everybody, let's welcome Mr. Daniel Cobb. Whew.
That's
So
quite
what
the
did you do?
Not
what
bad,
did you do at
At Whiskey Dix?
Yeah.
I started off as a bouncer. One of his partners used to actually train with one of the partners of my coach at CFC, Wade, back in the day.
Yep.
And then quickly I realized that the guys that made the money were the bartenders and the guys that did the busing. So even though they weren't the cool guys, the bussers, they were making way more dough than
They did
than
good.
the bouncers.
The
They did
bussers
good.
were.
The bussers, oh man,
They got
way
tipped
more
out, man.
money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your hourly plus tips.
It was hard work. I mean, the amount of ice from downstairs to upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that in itself was
It was horrible.
It was that's where you should be getting your premium tips right there. That's why.
I always wanted to be a bartender.
Me too. I think it would be wicked.
Bartender and server. Those are the two things I wanted to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know bartenders from the Palomino Club. Those guys have been there. They're like older now. They made a whole career of it.
Oh yeah.
They got houses. They got cabins. They,
Yeah.
you can make a ton of money. As long as you keep your nose clean and your mind right when you're doing it, because there's a lot of temptation in the bar business.
Oh,
We know that.
Big time.
But yeah, there's a ton of money to be made. That's for sure. So anyways, I wanted to talk first and foremost about your, it says here that you were bullied when you were young. And this is something that I feel like might relate to a lot of our listeners, especially maybe their kids, probably even them too. I was bullied when I was in grade 9. And to this day, Michael Giancola, if I ever run past you, we got some unfinished business. But anyway.
That's hilarious.
What are the chances he's listening to this
Oh,
right
yeah.
now? Eh?
Hey,
Just
Rick.
in grade 9, I used to walk to school. I went to Isaac Brock, and I lived 3 blocks away. So it was a quick little hustle, and that motherfucker used to just wait around, and he used to punch me in the face all the time.
Really?
I don't even know why. He just
Yeah.
hated me because I was a new kid in school.
And he was in school with you, yeah.
He was in school. This was in grade 9, yeah. And I was a new kid. I was in East Selkirk at first. It was called Happy Thought. That was the school's name. And then when I came to grade 9, I remember walking up, and I just remember him just staring at me like he wanted to eat me. And I was like, Jesus, man. And where I came from, there was nothing like that. It was very like country school, you know?
Yeah.
So I had to deal with this guy for a year. So to this day, it sits deep inside. So I know bullying lasts forever,
Yeah.
And to this day, he's probably a family man and has kids and probably feels bad about being an asshole. But what are you going to do?
Or he doesn't.
Or he does, or he's in jail rotting away, which
Yeah.
probably he is.
So let me ask you guys this: do you think that like bullying is something that you learn and then you just continue it through, or like we were talking off camera earlier? I feel bullying is innate. Like it doesn't start with bullying. I don't think that kids have the intention. So I'll give you a perfect example. I have a 1 and 3-year-old. My 3-year-old is eating food or he's got a snack, and my 1-year-old comes and he rips it out of his hands and he starts eating it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's not a bully.
Is that right? Yeah.
Right? Is
Yeah.
that my 1-year-old bullying my 3-year-old? Like he hasn't even had time to develop what bullying is.
Totally.
So I just think that over time you make it worse.
Yes.
Right? And you just don't have that trigger to shut it off and realize the things that you're doing. But they could be at home. Like I had an older cousin. He would have been about your age, about 45 now, and he used to beat the crap out of me. Do you know what I mean? And so growing up, that's how I treated my brothers and my brother and my cousins, and that we would just wail on them.
Yeah.
And it was just normal. So I think that you just don't understand based on your household and what you're seeing around you.
Yeah.
Right? Like Jet and them would bully now. And there's a difference between kids on different parts of my street. Like we're in a good neighborhood now, and there's kids that are a little bit older, but they're more rough, right? Like the other day, Jet was on the trampoline, and the kids are trying to bounce him, not because they're being bullies, but they're just like they're hardcore. And then he goes to the other side, and they're like, "Oh, Jet, be careful!" Like, you know what I mean? Like, and they're the same age.
Do you think bullying is? Let's forget that it's called bullying. Let's just say that it's rough housing.
Rough housing.
I feel like bullying is just a term that we've now created, and I feel like it's almost a losing battle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think, especially amongst boys, do you think rough housing is important?
Definitely.
Absolutely. I would agree with that too, right?
Absolutely. You
But
need to
girls
grow some
don't.
thick
Girls
skin.
don't do that. Like I watched.
But they're mean to each other.
They're mean.
They won't hit each other.
Verbal.
But verbal. Yeah.
They alienate each other.
Yes,
That's what they do. They will alienate each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's different.
So when you have a mom, let's say that comes in, there's lots of different scenarios. But let's say a mom comes in, she's got a young son, even a daughter, I don't know, and is getting bullied. So what do you do? How do you take control of this?
Look, the big thing with kids, and I mean, I've dealt with it with a couple different age groups.
Okay.
I mean, one situation I ended up actually calling the principal about it, which was a bad move. I was told later on.
Ooh.
But yeah, because the thing is, you have to deal. There's three sides to it. There's the parents, there's the children, and then there is the school administration.
Okay.
And sometimes you do end up in a position where the administration is incompetent and they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, the situation in particular that comes to mind, I had a student. He was actually in his teenage years, and he had severe autism, and he had that what's the one again where they have Tourette's?
Okay.
He had Tourette's as well. And he was getting bullied by a kid. This kid was huge. He was like 13 years old already, weighed 240, like giant.
Oh,
Like
wow.
he was a big kid, 6 foot already. Like he was really a big kid.
Yeah.
But he was getting picked on by a kid that was tiny. And it ended up being that one day when he pushed back, that was the only thing the teacher saw, and he was the only one suspended.
Right.
So the whole story was I actually called the principal and I was like, listen, if you suspended both the kids, I get it. Why'd you only suspend the one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and he'd talked to the parents. The parents had talked to the principal. The principal wasn't doing anything about it. So anyways, what we ended up doing with this student in particular is we started to teach him just about how to put in boundaries and really understand. Like, and I think that's really one of the biggest things is learning how to really get kids to impose their boundaries and learn to set those with people and understand, like, look, stop it. I'm telling you to stop it, right? And then stop it, told the teacher. You know what I mean? Stopped it, told the teacher, and told the parents what's going on at school. Stopped it, told the teacher, told the parents. The parents have talked to the principal. So when the day comes where the kid decides to take the guy down, mount him, and say, listen, you're not going to do that again,
Right.
or else I'm not letting you off.
Right.
Everybody knows what was going on.
So it's been documented.
It's been documented.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's a great approach because instead of going from, like I'm upset, I'm going to drop you, because as soon as you resort to violence, you immediately lose, right? Unless you're getting paid. But if you're going to violence as a kid or an adult or whatever, you slug a guy, you're done. Like you've already lost, right? And so if the kid is doing that, I like that approach where you take your time. And that's the good thing about self-defense is that you learn how to control the situation without resorting to violence.
That's right.
Daniel, let's backtrack so everybody knows your credibility and who you are. What is BJJ, number one? And then let's tell us about your school.
Sure. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the most effective form of martial art on the planet.
Okay.
MMA, the modern MMA, what you see today is all born from the Gracie family, having founded the UFC, which then launched into popularity what, again, now is the UFC MMA, which is a mix of all these different martial arts. It's a grappling art primarily is how people think of it, but we address the standing, we address some weapons stuff, we address, less popular, but some of that as well, and really try to have a holistic kind of idea of even the context you were in and what would be appropriate there. So it's a fighting art. It's not a sportive art, although over time that's kind of what it's been sort of more popularly known as. I own what's called the Don't Survive Thrive Academy, and as the name says, it's really a place for you to develop, push further, meet other people who are into pushing and growing, you know what I mean, inner growth and all that stuff. And we focus on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay. So describe your school to us. What does it look like? What does your facility look like?
So it's at 181 Stradbrook, so it's very close to the Winnipeg Winter Club.
Okay.
And really, you walk in, and similar to this location, actually, it's all mats. It's pretty much all mats all over. We've got a couple change rooms. We've got a couple showers, so guys can come in for their lunch class, shower up, go to work.
Yeah.
And we run classes in the morning, afternoon, evening. There's privates going on during the day.
Okay.
So we're a busy facility.
So how many people are in the facility at one time?
Well,
let's say it's a busy day.
Well, let's say it's pre-COVID.
Okay.
We might have 65 people in
Oh,
the
wow.
building at once. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a big facility now with COVID. Obviously, a lot less, and we have to deal with some of those restrictions and stuff.
So are people is everybody rolling together? Like, are they all? What would you call it?
So what we do is
Engaging?
They're
What's the term?
They're sparring.
Sparring,
But, I mean,
okay.
we do positional. What a class! I mean, the classes for brand new beginners is a little bit different than what we do with the more experienced people. For the brand new beginners, they're basically learning initially just the stand-up stuff, the stuff that are what I call not even a fight. I call awkward situations.
Okay.
You know, awkward situation management. Let's call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're at the bar. You're at the park. You're in a parking lot. And this situation might present itself. How would we maybe deal with those things? You know,
Okay.
And that's what we have a 6-week program. They do come 3 times a week. Right, so 18 classes, and every class they're reviewing what they did. We add a little more. We review everything we've done so far, so they can really get a good sense for it. And then once they're into our actual program at the academy with some of the more experienced people, it's a lot more what we call the chess game of jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
That's where you get now a full-on resisting opponent.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to do this to you and make you call me uncle. Yeah. And you're going to, at the end of it, call me uncle while you're trying to make me call uncle. You know, it's like it's a little bit different than lifting weights, right? Because this time the weight tries to lift you back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's different.
That's cool. Women
are there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some girls that train as well. My sister and my mom train.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
How important do you think it is for a woman to know how to fight and defend herself?
Man, how important is it for every human being to learn how to swim?
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah, a great point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, it is what it is. And I think it's really sad that, you know what I mean, we don't push it more as a priority, even in the school systems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That stuff. You don't have to become a pro, but the basics.
Yeah. I feel the problem is the mixed message is, we don't want to teach people how to fight because it's a negative, but yet everybody should know how to fight to defend themselves in a positive.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And I know, talking to my wife, every woman's fear is getting raped in the back alley of some weird place,
That's
right?
my fear too, Rick.
Yeah. I always say don't threaten me with a good time, but everybody's different. You know what I mean? What is throw some tips out there for the ladies out there. Let's say they're walking in a dark alley. I mean, we'll just set up the worst case scenario. Walking in the dark alley, is putting your keys in your fist, is that effective? Are you going to get the mace? It's going to be too late. What is it?
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
The thing about it is it's all situations you put yourself in.
Okay.
And at the end of the day is you're walking down this alley, dark alley. It's like, why? Are the lights not working over there? Like, why did you decide to go down the damn dark alley? You know, like, man, I used to have a student. Bro,
It's so true.
Bro, I used to have a student, okay? I used to have a student. Let's just say that we disagree politically on a lot of shit, this person, right? Yeah. But this person said to me, man, I've been mugged 18 times. And it was like 14, 18.
It's not a them problem, it's a you problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how? You know what I mean? How did you in Winnipeg get mugged that many times?
Yeah.
And she go, well, I was walking at night and I was carrying beer. I'm like, you're just like, really? That's how you're going to start the story?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I just stopped listening after that point.
It's like
It's situations, man.
Okay.
You put yourself in, you know? Like even Brazil, the upbringing in Brazil, it's really violent. Where I came from, Rio, is very violent, you know? And it took me like 2 years to be able to be comfortable with having my parents have the window rolled down at a stoplight here in Winnipeg.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because in Brazil,
wow.
if you get mugged at a light like that, no one says, what a criminal. They say, what an idiot you are to have had the windows rolled down. It's just the reality. So it's really trying to imagine the riskiest, the worst scenario, and never giving it a chance to happen. So I wouldn't walk around in a dark alley.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't feel comfortable. You know, if I see there's a group of sketchy people on this side of the road, I cross the street. There's nothing, you know what I mean?
So you're not trying to be a tough guy. You're always trying to avoid.
100%.
Yeah, okay,
You know what
fair
I mean?
enough.
So people ask me, why don't you fight MMA? Because I might get knocked out.
I'm not there yet.
I know that hurts. That
You
hurts
know
a
what I
little bit. So what is something? Okay, so it's somebody's situational awareness. They haven't put themselves in a bad position, but something happens. Well, let's not even say that somebody's trying to rape you. Let's just say somebody's being aggressive, and maybe they're trying to intimidate.
Right.
What's something that maybe we can do?
Well, try to keep distance. Number one thing is trying to keep some distance.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We typically say the arm's length. So say, RJ, put your arm out like this. This is the distance that I'm at least going to be at where he can't punch me, kick me right away, and it gives me some time to be able to react. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course, if the person breaches in their pocket and grabs something, man, your best bet is to run as fast as you can.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, if not, you know what I mean, and you think it's a situation where it is one-on-one, we're talking, there's no one around who you think might come in and soccer kick you in the head, you'd be looking at closing the distance and trying to take the person to the ground and establish a top position where you can negotiate. Really negotiate's the big key, because even you think, right, in a culture in today where so many people are willing to flip the phone and film instead of actually coming in and helping you.
No kidding.
You know, all they're going to see is you took him down, he hit his head, or you took him down, the guy said something, they didn't catch it, and you know what I mean? It's going to look bad. So you need to manage all these things. You know what I mean? You even need to potentially say out loud, start yelling out loud, listen, man, I don't want to. You're not saying it to him. You're saying it so other people don't assume you're the assailant.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? You got to worry about these things.
Yeah, nobody records the context. They just record you bashing somebody. But meanwhile, for the last 8 minutes, this guy's been threatening your life or something.
He's been chasing you for 8 minutes.
Dude, 100%. Yeah. And even you think, as a man, in terms of honor, right? What if the situation was, man, you're walking on the side of the street, this guy grabs your wife's ass.
Yeah. So what do you do?
Bro, I mean, there's one side that tells you, I'm not here to say what's right and wrong in the situation.
Yeah.
That's every man's going to have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, if it were me, I think I'd do something about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, would I crack the guy in the head? Maybe not, but maybe you put the guy on the back and gently kind of say, bro.
Yeah.
What now? What now?
Yeah.
You know what
Just
I mean?
look at the guy, right?
Turn him over and grab him in the ass.
Yeah. Turn him over and go up.
I'm gonna watch, because a lot of people have weapons on them, and like,
Dude,
a lot of the
you gotta watch
guys like you, right? Like you think of bouncers, you're thinking of guys that are 6'3" football linemen, right?
Yeah.
I'm more worried about guys like you than I am about those big dudes, because I know what they're capable of. But guys like you, if you're in that position, you're like, no way, man. This guy's gonna give you something quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're walking around the streets and some guy, even if like somebody grabbed my wife's arm and I'm looking at the guy, he's got face tattoos.
You don't want to get involved in that shit.
I'm just like, Nary, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's just go.
You're just going to get some disease
Forget
from
about
him.
this arm distance. We're practicing our fitness. We're running.
We're running.
We're running. That's it. I'm not. My honor is not stuck on getting stabbed by this guy.
That makes
I'll tell you
total
that
sense.
much right there.
And it's all context. Exactly, right? The guy has a tattoo that you're just like, bro, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
he's
want to
got
mess
him on
with
his
it.
eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get away from him.
Teardrops.
Okay? Yeah.
1,000,000%. Man. I mean, I think that's the big misconception, right?
Yeah.
Again, this is the whole thing. Is it's all context. It's all who are you?
Yeah.
What do you? Again, I'm not saying what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah.
But it's situational, right?
Yeah.
Put it in a different scenario, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're at a what is it? One of those black tie parties, and maybe you are confident that he's not gonna have a knife.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, maybe
Yeah.
your attitude is
Yeah,
different
it'd
in
be a
that
different
context.
story.
Yeah, and I think again, it's that whole thing. Like for me, learning to fight has only caused me to understand that I don't want to be in one.
Mm-hmm.
That's really been
Yeah.
the biggest highlight for me.
Yeah.
I used to love fighting.
Yeah.
Like, I would just love to fight, man. I just like, let's go. Like,
thinking-
we'd be at a party, like, hey, man, let's just square off, and we would. I mean, we wouldn't be like throwing killer blows, but we'd grapple and you know what I mean? Tap out.
Well, that's the roughhousing that I feel like
Yeah,
every
like, I
every
grew up
dude
like
is.
that,
So
right?
how old would you say these parties would you?
Oh,
have been
like
around?
maybe 6 years ago, I
Okay.
stopped doing that.
I'm sure, but you were
It's
younger
carried
when you were
through.
doing
I
that.
just like that. I honestly size guys up, man. When I'm walking around, I'm like, yeah, I
can do it.
I would.
I
This
can
is
do
how I'd approach this situation with
Yeah.
this guy.
No
I
kidding.
analyze things like that.
And yet you wonder how it happens at the time. I know there's a lady that works out here, and she told me about this one situation where she's a real estate agent, and some dude just grabbed her, not by the butt, but by the what, and she didn't know what to do. She just froze up, and nothing happened. And to this day, she's always like, I can't believe I didn't do anything, but nothing. All I went to was to freeze mode?
Freezing.
Or,
Yeah,
yeah,
she
she
just
just froze up. So in your school, do you think that by learning how to fight that maybe you overcome that, or you teach people how to overcome that, maybe not to freeze, but to maybe react or run at least or something?
See, this is the thing about that context, right? I doubt she was in an environment where other people were there.
Right.
She put herself in a situation where she's one-on-one with someone she doesn't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you might say, well, Dad, are you telling me that a woman should never be in a situation where she's alone with a man? It's up to her. What's she comfortable with?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe she looks a certain way. Maybe that never happens. Who
Yeah.
knows? I have no idea.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
That
Yeah.
would be a real situation for realtors, right? Like how many
Dude.
female realtors are there? Not everybody's selling $1 million homes,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
You're going into North End homes or West End homes selling $100,000 home.
Yeah.
And you got to go and meet some guy, or you know what I mean? Like you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't
You
see
don't
these
know.
people.
And
Even to be able to say, even like police, they wear body cams.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be a smart thing for real estate agents in that scenario to be like, look, just so you know, everything's being recorded for my safety. I don't know if that's an approach, but I mean, the risk is asymmetric. You know what I mean? Where she's, if something doesn't happen, okay, but if something does happen,
Yeah.
she's now traumatized. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the situation.
Forever. Yeah.
So let's do this. You're talking about the basics. So let's
Yeah.
help. There's basics live for men, women, doesn't matter, right? Am I
Yes,
asking you?
that's
okay.
right.
So we got the basics. We need the arms distance.
Yes.
All right. So what would be the next phase to that?
Next thing is always having your hands up.
Okay.
Always having your hands up in between the line of my face
Yeah.
and your hands.
Yeah.
Again, the thing we were talking about before we got on the air. You see two guys starting to square up to each other in the bar. They puff out their chest.
Yeah.
Why they're trying to show that you know what I mean. You're not a threat to me. That's really what that is by putting the hands down. And that's a really bad move because suddenly a headbutt to the nose.
No,
you know what I
you're
mean, or an
kidding,
elbow to the jaw.
Yep.
And it's over.
Yeah.
But you always kind of have your hands here. You pretend you're Italian, whatever it is.
Like, hey,
your hands
I
are
know,
there.
yeah, like, hey.
That's it. And the hands are
Hands up.
ready to go
Yeah,
wherever
yeah,
they need
yeah.
to go. You know what I
Okay,
mean? Don't
yeah.
leave that nose too exposed so they can't get a good clear shot straight
yeah,
on.
yeah,
You
yeah.
kind of maybe turn your head a little bit. Those are little things that
Yeah.
can already go a long way compared
Okay.
to otherwise what it could
So
be.
keep the distance. Get animated with your hands.
That's right.
What? Okay. So
Palms forward,
Palms
trying
forward.
to de-escalate, not
Yeah.
showing you want to fight.
right. You know what? That's one of my biggest things is why I wouldn't want to get my hands up is because I don't want him to think that I'm like, unless I'm going to engage,
Yeah.
then I'm throwing my hands up. But a lot of times, I don't want to get my hands up. So that makes sense though.
Yeah, and the
So
other
get
thing
'em
too
up.
is you want to base. You really want to make sure that your feet. You don't want to find yourself, what we say, standing in the telephone booth
Yeah.
with your feet close by each other.
Yeah, yeah.
You want a little bit of a staggered stance. So you can move forward, back,
Okay.
side to side.
Okay.
And if the person comes at you, you're not going to fall on your back because that's the worst thing. Is you
Yeah.
end up in a position underneath the person.
Yeah.
Then that's a
Otherwise,
real
you're going
problem.
back to elementary. You're just trying to kick
But-
everybody.
But then, but if
Pretty
you're
much.
but if you're experiencing the jiu-jitsu, then that's probably exactly where you want to be, isn't it?
Well, not again,
really?
context,
Okay.
right? And I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to be on my back.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's good fun when we're training for fun, but when it comes to a real situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to be there. And again, even just the context of what if someone again comes out you weren't expecting, they start stepping on your head,
Yeah, yeah.
stopping on your head. So
Yeah.
I mean, you really
It's
again,
a vulnerable position
dude,
to
you
be.
want to avoid a fight at all costs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just is what it is.
So okay, so I wanted to have this conversation because I wanted to talk about fighting, but I know that that's not what you're trying to do. You're not trying to promote that. You're just trying to defend and probably fitness. I
Correct.
would imagine, correct?
Correct.
So, so what happens in the gym? So we know that you have pre-COVID, you have 60 plus people. They're all engaging with each other. Do you do any kind of fitness, weightlifting, cardio? Like,
Mostly
what is
that's-
it included in a class?
Well, mostly what it is it's just the training. I
okay.
mean, at different levels. So, say for example, our competitors, they're being put under situations like, "Hey, this is a situation. You're down by however many points, or whatever bad situation you're in. You got 30 seconds to get out and get on top." Right. So, doing timed workouts really pushes them to get a lot of cardio there. And the other thing too, Rick, is just by the very nature of what you're doing, because the fact is, again, they're fighting back. It's not a static weight. They're adjusting to what you're doing.
punching bag.
Imagine playing chess, but every time you make a bad move, you know, your arm gets twisted instead, right? So that in itself, there's a lot of cardio there. A round is 6 minutes long. I mean, if you've ever wrestled, right?
Yeah.
Wrestling I think a wrestling round at like collegiate wrestling or high school wrestling, I think a round is a minute or 2 minutes, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
So we're doing this for 6, and then guys are going potentially 10 rounds. Guys
Wow.
are maybe going 3 rounds. Competition class, they would do the equivalent of, let's say, 10
Yeah.
rounds, 8 rounds, quite a lot. But if they're more of our hobbyists, they'd be doing 3 rounds of 6 minutes going at it.
Okay.
But the nice thing as well is you learn where to rest. So at the beginning when you're a white belt, it's a great cardio workout. And later on at black belt, it's not the best cardio workout because you know where to rest. So the
Right.
guy's sweating, you know, and you're not.
Yeah.
So I've found I've actually gotten a little bit weaker over time unless I'm actually focusing on actually doing some strength training to make up for it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I always think so sport is great to keep you conditioned. It's going to keep your physique at bay, but it's not going to give you if people are coming into a jiu-jitsu and they're looking to get, more lean, like get arms,
Yes.
right? Tone their legs. Like it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen the way that you would if you're actually doing
Come
the
to Fit Club
concentration
for
stuff.
that.
You got to come to here for that.
That's right.
But if you want to get good condition, like I play tennis, right? And I'm like dropping weight. I can't keep up with because I burn so many calories, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like my body is reshaping not the way I want it to do. So I committed to it. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm losing weight. I'm getting a little bit skinnier. I'm losing a little bit of strength. I'm fine with that. But when I get back to the weights, it's a whole different mindset and approach. And I think people should have that variable. So, I maintain my strength here and then I tack on sports. Like I love to apply this to some type of athleticism, right? That's the true test of like how you're developing, not just physique, because physique, it'll kind of bounce. Like you get to a point where it's like, I've been as ripped as I want to get.
Yeah, sure. You got to
know what I
keep
mean?
doing
So
different
it's like,
stuff.
Yeah, I want to challenge, but
You
I
want it
don't-
to be
not
functional.
that I get rid of
Functional, for
this.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just layer on new hobbies.
Totally.
I feel like as we age, and I'm I think about 15 years older than you, but more important. So not necessarily looking great. I mean, of course, that is always important. Muscle mass is always important, but functional movement. You know what I mean? One of the things that I always say, because we live in Canada on ice, stance, right? You ever have that quick slip out underneath you on your feet?
Pull a groin.
Pull a groin. That's exactly how
Or
I pull
you
my
drop
groin
down
like that.
and
And then baseball would always make it even worse. And I just thought if you can solve that, and I did by getting worked on and strengthening the groin area and my core, and I've never had a problem ever since then. So that has been probably my most influential win in becoming part of this whole thing has been that. Yeah,
Okay,
so for
eh?
sure.
Yeah, and what we've layered on is the mobility sessions.
Yeah.
Like I would be totally stiff, my knee joints, like everything would just be sore. I'd never be able to go play sports. I'd be walking around just like increpid, right? And now we do a lot more mobility. I actually throw it in a couple times throughout my day. And it's been a game changer for my recovery, right? But not only that, nutrition, hydration. Like I never ate great when I was in my 20s. I would just work out harder than a poor diet.
Because
right?
you're 20.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
eat all kinds of
but
bullshit.
now when I do it, it's like, why don't I drink? Well, I don't want to be hungover for 5 days.
Yeah.
It's not even a 1 day hangover. Remember, you used to drink Saturday, you take Sunday, Monday, you're back, right? Now it's like, no, if I drink 1 day, even if it's one drink, I feel it for the next 3 to 5 days. It's just like poor eating. If I eat poor, then my body feels inflamed and not recovered. And then Monday rolls around and I'm like, oh God, this is the hardest workout in the world.
I know.
And that's why a lot of people, like a lot of our members, they come in Monday and they're sucking ass. We have to actually adjust
And I can
the workouts.
smell the vodka in their
the
pores.
vodkas and the pierogies and everything, right?
And the butter.
Yeah, and the butter and onions. But it's that's what it is. And so if you want to feel good, it's got to be a complete approach, right? You
Yes.
still live your life, but you have to understand how far do you push into, like how many drinks do you have on a weekend before you're paying for it Monday, Tuesday, right? So it's
Totally.
like if you want to come in Monday, you want to perform, and you have a goal, then you can't be. You got to cut back a little bit, right?
yeah.
Live your life. Right, I want to live my life, Rick.
Yeah.
Right, but then you got to live with your goals too.
Totally.
Right, 'cause they go hand in hand.
If I drink in August, I'm good to go in September. You know what I mean? It takes a long time now. Not like back in the day where every night was about boozing, signing off on all kinds of drinks, having 1 for 1 with 500 people because they all want to come into the club. Yeah. It's crazy.
It'd be interesting to actually look back at that and analyze
It would.
how your life was actually, and
It
where
would.
and how did it affect you, right? Because I'd party 3-4 times a week back in the day,
Yeah.
and then I would still coach and do everything that I'm doing now. But I'm wondering what was my mindset? Was I clear?
Yeah.
How was the body? Would I be less sore today?
What's the
if I took
untapped
care of myself
potential,
then?
right?
Yeah.
It's the
Exactly.
untapped potential you
Yeah.
could have tapped into that
Yeah.
you're like, where could I have been if I would have done that?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think people don't need to get depressed and locked into the past. So if you drank and you boozed and you ate bad all through your 20s and 30s, doesn't mean that in your 40s you can't try jujitsu or you can't come to Fit Club and give your best effort.
Hell yeah.
And make changes into your 70s, 80s, 90s, however you want to live.
What is the age range of your clients?
The majority of the clients are between 30 and 50.
Oh, yeah?
The majority of the guys, I would say, are between those ages.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of kids. We do have some teenagers. Again, I'm talking now post-COVID where we're at right
Right.
now. We have many 20-year-olds, but again, it's mostly between that sort of a range of 30, let's call 28, to about 52.
Okay.
So it's pretty wide range, but it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
People, man, and everybody from different walks of life.
Yeah.
Doctors, lawyers, construction workers, people who work in restaurants and bars, people who work in the rigs, just everything. We get everything.
Yeah.
But they come there and everybody's building each other up, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So what is the key element of your business? Because if people are coming from all age ranges and they're not coming to you because they want to be the next BJ Penn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what is it that keeps them coming back to you?
I think it's the culture. I think it's the culture of the facility. I mean,
isn't that such a huge thing?
It's huge, man. And I think the big thing is like guys come in I had a student who was a pre-med. She was a med student, and she was actually an amputee. And she came and she was saying like, you know what? After a little bit of time with us, and just before she left, I can't remember if she wrote it or she said it to me, but she said, I'm as a medical student, I thought I was going into a culture which was going to be all about building people. And when she got into it, she realized how toxic the culture is through med school because there are a lot of egos, you know what I mean? Just that's what it is. And she thought that coming into a martial arts academy, it would have actually been really destructive. Like you're trying to destroy the other person. But she realized that the vibe of the place was so constructive and building people up.
Yeah.
So she was really moved and by that. And I think that's really, it kind of describes why people are there. They see how much of a, people are so invested. Like you drop a weight, it's just a weight. But you don't drop people that way who are your training partners, and without them, you don't have that person, right? And if you, Rick, have been training there and you've been there for 5 years, there's only one Rick with 5 years experience who does things well the way you do and things not so well that make you a really good, it's like a Lego piece, you know what I mean? And you're your own Lego piece. And I think people really embrace that. It's really cool, man. You see, like I went to lunch with a student of mine, and he's the president of a big furniture company in the city and stuff. And he said, I asked him, what's it like, the academy, et cetera. And he said this line. He said, it's like coming home. And I said, wow. Could you imagine if you had your customers coming to your stores and saying it's like coming home? How happy would you feel? And I was just like,
home.
Yeah.
That'll be the next sign. Did you see all the sayings that we had in the front there?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a great one. Welcome home.
Yeah, very profound. I like that. That's good. That's probably a good way to, that's probably what every boss is looking for, is to make it feel that way. And then people aren't worried about the money. They just love being there. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, they're doing it because they love it. Let's backtrack here. I want to know, I know we didn't talk about this yet. When you were bullied as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, not as a 3-year-old. It was when I went to Brazil. I moved to Brazil when I was about 4 years old.
Okay.
3 years old was when I started judo.
So what nationality are you?
I was born in England, raised in Brazil, so I'm dual citizenship, and now 3 citizenships because I'm also Canadian now. So
okay, but what
one parent is English, one is Brazilian.
Ukrainian. So are you Brazilian? Is that
yeah? So
or is there even a title?
Yeah,
is there already no title?
British, Brazilian, Canadian.
Yeah.
So my dad's British, my mom's Brazilian.
So when you say British,
British,
white,
Queen's English.
Okay.
Very white. Yes. Like freckles.
Do you have an accent?
Freckles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
English accent. My dad's got a solid English accent. Speaks the Queen's English. We have the accent.
Who do you
not
think
him.
of when you think of England? Mr. Bean? No.
The Queen.
Oh yeah, of course, Mr. Bean.
The Queen. Oh, Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
No, I don't think of that guy at all, man.
The only Brit without an accent, right? There's a talk.
Sorry. Go on. British.
Yeah. And then my mom's
Brazilian.
Brazilian. Yeah,
Okay,
and then my
cool.
mom's Brazilian. We moved to Brazil.
Did you speak Portuguese?
Yeah, growing up, I used to mix the two all the time. Half the words in the sentence would be English.
Yeah.
Half the words were in Portuguese. Probably the same, right? Did you grow up speaking Ukrainian a little bit?
No.
No.
I spoke English and bad English in North End.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah, no. So I spoke both. Portuguese and English.
Okay.
But yeah, moving to Brazil. I mean, the thing was, I went to a school which was really, it was kind of like a really expensive school. Lots of very affluent kids, and initially we had some good money. You know what I mean, and things were going well. But my mom wouldn't let me cut my hair, and she had me had this mushroom cut, this stupid fucking mushroom cut.
Yeah.
And like everything, bro, everything.
Do you have one, Rick?
No, I never had a mushroom
I
cut.
would
No.
say like, look, let me cut my hair. No, it looks good, but the kids are just jealous and all this stuff. I was like, no, I don't want this hair. I hate it, whatever.
Yeah.
And for years, you're at that age where like you don't make your decisions. Your parents do for you, and I got picked on for that hair. And it really got to a point where the kids picked on me enough about that, about some other shit, whatever, that I used to come home and my parents would just be, just ignore it. It'll go away. Just ignore it. It'll go away. Tell the teachers it'll go away, whatever. And it was only the day I fought back that it was over.
So what happened? Tell us about that day.
Well, as I remember it, it was just one of these things where I ended up in a full-blown scrap. Like he said it kind of, I snapped.
Yeah.
And I went after him. You know what I mean? Sort
Yeah.
of thing. I think I threw a couple punches. I think he clawed at my cheeks or at my eyes or something like that. But the point was, it wasn't even about me winning a fight. It was just about the fact that I fought back. Like,
Right.
there were
Enough.
consequences to him continuing that behavior.
Yeah.
So I ended up in the principal's office. My parents got called in, and then, had the conversation. What was the group of kids? Because there was a few kids and stuff, and they ended up having the conversation, I think, with all their parents, and it kind of subsided after that.
Yeah.
But I think, too, to your point earlier, RJ, and I think it has now, the way I look back at it is I really try to reflect on it and go, how much of this is a story I told myself all my life, and how much of this was really what I see, what I think it was, because it's so long ago. You know what I mean? And in the moment, you're just like, my life's horrible. I'm being bullied at school. And,
Yeah.
But maybe it was just a comment here and there. And maybe if I had thicker skin, I wouldn't have interpreted that way. Yeah. So now it's one of those where, like, I've told myself I got bullied for so long. It's real.
Yeah.
But was it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's exactly.
You know what? It's really hard to do that because, especially at a young age, you don't really know your surroundings. And so just because one person says it, I think a lot of people get caught up in mob mentality, right? Where it's like, it's easy to latch on, oh yeah, that guy's got funny hair. Like, as soon as you point something out about somebody, that's all you're going to see. And so, everybody just carries it on forward, and they don't understand the feeling that it has for that kid.
Yeah.
And so if they keep going with it, oh, I lost my train of thought. Something happened on my screen. It just shut up. But,
Well,
I don't even know.
yeah, that's good. So we can go back. So this is when you were 4 in Brazil?
No, this is maybe like 6, somewhere between 6, 8 years old.
So the
somewhere in
seed
there.
has been planted in your head at that point.
Yeah.
You understand being bullied, and now you understand I'm going to start protecting myself, or I'm going to start battling
More like
back.
my parents realized that my brother, my sister, and I were beating the shit out of each other so
Okay.
much that they were like, they need an outlet, and so they put me into jiu-jitsu, judo. They put my brother and sister into other activities. My sister was ballet mostly. My brother and I were between judo, jiu-jitsu, soccer.
So you've been doing this for 20 years?
Well, consistently since I was 16 and a half.
16 and a half.
Consistently since that age, and I went between judo, soccer, jiu-jitsu, from about 3 to about 12 years old.
Okay. And so are you a black belt?
I am a black belt.
You're a black belt.
Yeah.
Okay. And so are you the main coach? Is that what you call it? Coach or
Correct.
instructor?
That's
Coach.
right.
You know what? I really like your approach to the bullying, though, like what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, me too.
With
Totally.
just like
Tell everyone.
Are you? The thing is, you don't want to be known as a snitch, but at the same time, if it's affecting and it's in a negative way, your options are either you take that route or we take that route.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And one of us is going down.
Yeah.
And if you don't want it to get there, then you need to take that. And I think that a lot of parents don't know the things that their kids are doing, right? Like, you can be in a great household and that kid could be the biggest bully. And unless their parents are aware of it, then, if the steps were taken and it gets to that point, I think then it's the consequences aren't going to be so bad. You're not going to get suspended. Like, well, I told you and you did nothing about it.
Yeah.
Right? Or I told you, you told the parents did nothing about it. It consisted. I told you again. Now this third time, I had to take action. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not going to hold you against that.
And there's a difference too, right, RJ, as well. And that's important to highlight between, say, clocking someone in the face, which is what maybe if you were educated in karate and in Muay Thai and Taekwondo, maybe you'd be doing. Versus, you know what I mean? If you're doing it as, a grappler, you're hugging the guy, putting him on his back gently. The head doesn't get slammed. Like, the kid isn't hurt.
Yeah.
There's no physical, there wouldn't be any evidence.
Yeah.
There's no evidence. You get what I'm saying? That something took place.
You're just imposing your will on the person at that point. Right?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, call me uncle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I also think that if you see it, that as a good human being, you need to step in.
Yeah.
So, like, if you see a mob mentality going, like, oh yeah, this person, like, even just negative gossip, chat, right? It's like, you know what? No, like, either you disassociate yourself or you step in there and say, you know what? By the way, actually, this person isn't that bad.
Yeah.
So what you guys saying, I don't know. I think
cool.
you're wrong, and I think that you should stop.
Yeah.
You know, and just like if you see your kids and they're being complete,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
little assholes.
yeah, there you go. Thank you, Rick.
Totally.
By the way, I don't swear anymore.
And if he does, he has to do push-ups or burpees or something like that.
So if you see the kid doing that, like, it's not a good behavior.
Yeah.
Because he's 3. So if my son is out there, it's like, oh yeah, my kid's enforcing his will on these bigger kids. No.
Yeah.
My kid, you're not doing that. Forget it. He doesn't like. I say that to my kids all the time. They don't like that. Nobody likes. Don't hit in the face. Nobody likes to get hit in the face.
Yeah.
Why are you hitting me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or why did you just hit your brother in the face?
Yeah.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But can you really reason with a 1 or a 3-year-old?
Oh, they get it.
Do they get it?
Like, Jet, nobody likes that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You're going to get it back one day.
What if you
know what I mean?
What if you gave him a little baby punch in the face? You think he'd learn real quick?
The other day we were
Just a flick in the nose or something?
the other day we were going at it
With the pinky. It's with the pinky.
It's like I'm going to toughen this jaw up a little bit. Here, give me one. I said, give me one. Boom. All right, here's one for you.
Yeah. What's that
I
saying?
didn't admit to that. I'm just joking, Jerome.
Yeah.
Don't report me.
What's that saying? Everybody has a plan to get punched in the face.
get
And
punched
Mike
in the face.
Tyson said, I feel like everybody just one time just needs a good punch in the face to rattle the brain.
Can we,
Like,
can we
oh my
talk about
goodness.
that for a quick second?
Sure.
Like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. You guys know about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how is Roy Jones going to beat him?
Roy Jones, but isn't he like half his age? Roy Jones, or is he
Roy
a bit of
Jones
an
is-
older fighter?
They're not that far off.
No?
I think Roy's probably in his like mid 40s, late 40s, and Tyson's in his what 50s.
50s.
They're not that far off. Like they were pretty close.
57.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
is
so
what it
maybe
is.
Closer
maybe
to
a
60
maybe a
than
10.
50. Yeah.
I feel like maybe a 5 to 10 year gap. But I mean Tyson is
In the
just-
weight class? Are they similar?
Roy Jones fought at like 140.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
remember
And
him
Tyson
being
was
a-
like 210.
Man, I don't know enough about Roy Jones at all.
Oh, I loved Roy Jones. He was the most charismatic. He was quick. He was a fight. But now he looks old and out of shape. And I'm like, bro.
Oh, does he?
They're gonna get wrapped.
But what is it? 50
Like, this is
million,
not even a
30
good
million
fight.
they're offering these guys?
Yeah, like I want to watch the fight because I want to watch Tyson pummel him. But I mean, like, this is you should
Yeah.
have fought somebody else, like Evander or somebody like that's actually your size.
I don't know. I feel like Mike Tyson, he's old and he's been out of shape for so long. He might be back in shape now,
Have you
but
seen him?
out of shape now.
He's an animal.
Yeah. No, he is. And he's
Yeah.
got nothing but power.
Yeah.
But what happens 30 seconds in after he's all gassed?
Frustrated.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
gets
And he hasn't
frustrated.
landed a punch, like, so if Roy Jones is a ducker and a mover, that's when you come back, right? I mean, you let him wait. That's
That's
why to your point about fighting the big guys.
Yeah.
I'd rather go after a big guy because I'd let him just put his paws all over me, get tired, and then I'd come in there with my fury. Whereas a guy like you or guys my size,
Yeah.
you're not going to get tired. I'll get tired before you will, right? So
That's funny.
I'll be like, hey, man, you want cheeseburger? You want cheeseburger? How about some bacon? Just take his mind right off it. That would be my tactic.
That's funny.
Get his
That's
mind off
good.
it that way. So, anyways, I want to come down and I want to check out this thing. I'm actually
it.
very intrigued.
Dude, it'd
Buy
be,
it.
it'd
That's
be
something
fun.
that we got to do this winter. Is that we're not going
Yeah.
anywhere, so let's make it a fit winter.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're not going out to Mexico or getting out of shape, drinking, eating tons of food. For anybody that's out there that's thinking that's going to happen, I don't know. I think you should just let's just settle in for Manitoba or wherever you are and just enjoy the scenario. So
Yeah.
what can we do? We can come to Fit Club for a workout. We can go do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
What's the name of your gym, just so we
It's
know?
called the Don't Survive Thrive Academy.
Oh, yeah, Don't Survive.
We'll go there and we'll shoot a video.
Don't Survive.
And,
Thrive.
and you're gonna roll with this guy.
Yeah, Jerome. Let's do Jerome.
Yeah, get Jerome in there. Okay.
Yeah, no, we'll try and bring our coaches. I know you said that you can bring yourself here and we can do it there, but I'd like to be in your environment. I want to smell your mats.
Killer.
I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to see what
Yeah, I
people
think
wear.
that'd
I want to
Yeah.
be surrounded by the energy.
We'll get
Want to
geese
wear
and
the
everything.
pajamas. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So everybody wears a gi,
Yes.
and a gi is like a karate gi. Like that's what it looks like.
A little
or-
bit thicker, of material because there is so much pulling and pulling.
Okay.
We can't have it rip the way a karate gi would.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what we wear.
Cool.
This is our gi.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it was 200, but we're like, you know what? We're gonna make people earn a little bit more. We're gonna go half a century. So now, starting October 1st, everybody gets a jacket at 500. So they got to earn it. Like
So this
500
is how many
workouts.
class-
Okay,
cool.
500 workouts. So that's one a day,
Yeah.
5 days a week. So it's gonna take you a couple of years.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You guys
It's
do
like
that
these
with the
guys
gear?
are 1,000,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 1,000 workouts. This is from a lot of them are from zero.
I hadn't noticed
Yeah.
that's what that was. I was even
There's
okay,
a,
cool.
There's a 2,000 over there,
Yeah.
right? I mean, from 0 to 2,000 in less than 4 years.
I was starting to think it was an obituary.
Some of them are dead to me.
lost
No,
them.
I'm just
Truth. So speaking of gis, Cobra
I'm just
Kai.
kidding.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. I haven't watched it.
You haven't watched it yet?
I haven't watched it.
He kind of has the Daniel.
You
the
kind
Daniel
of.
son look.
Daniel
Kinda.
son.
Daniel son. You watched some of it yet?
Yeah, you could be the guy.
Oh,
He could
my-
be Daniel.
He'd be the coach. He'd be the coach, right?
Yeah.
The
I'll be
coach.
Miyagi.
The guy with the hair. No, you're the guy. The guy who runs Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I could be.
But what
yeah,
is it? My understanding is Cobra Kai is all about how Daniel.
Jerome,
son
can we
was
get a photo
actually
of these
the bully.
guys
Is
and
that
do
right?
a side by side of the Cobra Kai after?
Is that how it was? Daniel's son was actually the bully. Is how they?
No,
they
Daniel.
framed it?
So Daniel was the one that got bullied.
What's the blonde
and then
guy's
he
name?
did the
Yeah.
kick to the guy in the competition.
But
And-
Cobra Kai is not like a twist on the story.
No,
is
it is a twist.
It
So,
is,
So
okay.
yeah. So now what ends up happening is Daniel is the bully.
Okay, yeah.
He's the one that's saying like, "Hey, yeah, I kicked his butt back in the day, and now I'm super successful."
Yeah.
Now the guy's like, "You know what? I'm gonna build up this thing, and then I'm going to, he's gonna basically kick his butt in life."
Yeah.
That's kind of
So-
like the gist of it. I haven't
Yeah.
watched it all.
So
though.
fast forward 30 years. Okay, so Karate Kid. I can't remember the kid's name. And then you got-
Daniel.
Daniel.
It was
Yeah.
Daniel, yeah.
And then you have the blonde kid who was the villain,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the blonde kid
get
who's
some
the villain
names
is like a degenerate, lives in a shitty motel. He's, everything is going wrong in his life. And
He's
then you have the
drinking
Karate
and-
Kid. He owns all these car dealerships, and
Yeah.
he's a super
Yeah.
success.
Right.
So that's the basis of the story.
Right.
And then what happens is all of a sudden their world, and of course they can't forget what happened, right?
Yeah.
This is what has controlled their life for 30 years. So the villain is now, for whatever reason, he starts his Cobra Kai. He brings it back, and he brings back the school. But the way they used to be, it was all about like no mercy, strike first, all this kind of stuff. And now he's kind of growing out of that, and he's trying to change. But this guy, the Karate Kid, remembers
Daniel.
it like this, and just like how bullying, right? You can't unwire this, right?
Yeah.
So they hate each other, but they're very similar, and they're old now, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to fight anymore. But pride gets in the way, and
Yeah.
it's just really awesome with respect to see that the young actors are in fact the
The
old
actors.
actors.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
not
love
like
when they do that.
I love that too.
So Ralph Macchio.
Ralph Macchio, that's
his
the guy's
real
name.
name.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the
And
other
what's-
guy's name is Johnny.
Yeah.
That was his name in the TV
Yeah.
show.
I got to see it.
And what's super
Yeah.
cool, it might not register for you guys because you're a little younger, but my generation, you know how we have our music? All of the music is all the stuff that we love.
80s?
Like, oh yeah, me and her, we're just sitting there just rocking to the music. Well, we don't even watch the show. It was
That's
just so
great.
good. Yeah.
Are they doing montages and everything?
It was just wicked, man.
Yeah,
And you
training montages, those are always my favorite, man. You remember
Yeah.
those?
What was it?
Do they still do that? You know the training montage where
Where
where like Van Damme can't do the splits, and then all of a sudden his coaches like got him on the ropes. And he's doing
It's like the Rocky stuff.
yeah, the Rocky montage.
Rocky's running
He was
up
running
those-
up the
the
stairs,
stairs,
dude. I look forward to those.
Totally, man. Cobra Kai, I love it. So, anyways, we're already at the 45-minute mark. Do you got anything else you want to shout out to? Throw it out there.
I mean, if anybody's interested in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the place to check out. We've got a 6-week program that is a beginner-only program.
Okay.
So we've got a few sessions starting up in October. If they want more information, just visit our website, graciewinnipeg.com.
GRA
CIEWINNIPEG.com.
WINNIPEG.
So we'll make the commitment that we're gonna work together this winter. We're gonna come to you.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys
100%.
can come down for a workout. But
100%.
one of the things I have 2 goals this winter. Do you guys have goals? You're gonna hit me with some. So are you. I'm gonna tell you mine. Number 1 is to train with you. I want to learn self-defense.
Okay,
I want to be confident when it comes to that. And number 2 is to learn Espanol. I want to learn Spanish. So when I can go back to Mexico, I'm going to know how to order a drink. You know what I mean? What about?
I think you already know how to do that, Rick.
What about agua? Because I don't drink anymore.
Yeah,
God damn it!
exactly.
Right? What are your goals?
The goal for the winter is to really put this together. That's something I've been talking about doing for a very long time, but just people get busy.
Putting what together?
Like just going and trying different things
Yeah.
with the Fit Club members, right? Hey, like
Okay.
you know how we have the quarry walks, right? We
Yep.
do the hill workouts. We have the strong. Like
Yeah.
I would love to start layering in something, whether it be once a month,
Sure.
where we go and try alternative training, right? Like
Yeah.
tennis was my alternative training. I love it. Now it's like, what else can I do? And once a month, like arrange
For sure.
a small group or a large group, whatever, and just put it out there and go try it out.
So that's one goal. What else you got?
That's the only goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daniel,
I've
what do you got
I've
for
got
me?
other business goals, but I mean, for fitness wise, I think that would be one of the things.
Well, I mean, for me, I mean, definitely the goal still with the academy, doing a lot. There's a lot changing with the academy, and so this is a rebrand we did actually earlier this year. So
Okay.
we really push that. That's a big goal
Yeah.
for me with that. And the other thing is really fixing my diet, making sure my diet's in tip top. Like I cut out pretty much all dairy, all white flour, all white sugar, all alcohol. And I had some health issues due to inflammation. They
Okay.
all went away.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's
eh?
amazing.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we'll leave it at that. So listen, guys, if you guys can like, comment, and share this video on Facebook, we'd really appreciate it. It really helps us out here. You can also go to our YouTube channel, Fit Club Media, and subscribe and watch all of our podcasts there. So thank you very much, Daniel, for coming on the show. RJ, always a pleasure. We will dance it out and see you on the next podcast. Next Thursday, 11
Yeah.
a.m.
Boom.
Awesome. That was